Hey everyone, I am here with Brian Curry. He is the founder of Fairfield Partners and specializes in executive search for about the past 20 years, or actually exactly the past 20 years now. So, Brian, you have been working in the natural product space all this time. How did you fall into this industry?
Well, first of all, I appreciate the opportunity, Carrington. And in 2005, right at the beginning, I called on Bare Naked Granola. They had just done 1.6 million in revenue over the next 3 years. We did 8 searches for them as they grew to 45 million, and then were acquired by Kellogg's Kashi. The good news on that is that they then referred us to Daniel Lebetsky at Kind Snacks. They had just done about 10 million in revenue. We did searches for them. We have testimonials from both of them, and then Daniel referred me to Pete Lesko at Food Should Taste Good. So that really, those three accounts really got me in the space. And then started going to Expo East and West about 2008, 9. And so I've been to both of them all of these years, the fancy food shows. We're going to Newtopia for the first time in August.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been to Utopia yet, but I can't imagine what Expo East and Fancy Food were like back then because right now they're just those events are crazy. But so when you started out, you were very heavy on snacks. And knowing you today, you have a much more diversified client list. Can you speak to that a little bit about how you went from snacks to where you are now?
Sure. And in fact, part of it was going to all of those shows, East and West, especially the expo shows. Somehow we got very into ethnic and international with Tasty Bite, Saffron Road, Maya Kaimal, and then more recently over time got very heavy into the pet space. Now done over 12 searches for Zesty Paws. And in that case, even since they've been acquired by the H&H Group, in addition to them, K9, Wagon Train, and by the way, Wagon Train was actually referred to us by KKR, a PE firm, and it was our first business doing business with China. In fact, the head of North America, the co-CEO that we searched for, had to speak Mandarin. In addition, we then moved into supplements, personal care with Good Clean Love, Enzymedica, Herb Farm, and some others. And one thing that we're very proud of, we worked with a lot of female founders. So I mentioned Bare Naked and Maya Kamal, but Angie's Boom Chicka Pop, Miss Jones Baking Company, Brownie Brittle, Jovial Foods, a number of those.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, female founded brands are skyrocketing right now, and we're popping up here all over the place, right? So that's awesome that you have had the opportunity to work with so many different brands and all these different founders, right? So, I mean, you've been doing this for 20 years now,
Mhm.
and you've probably learned a ton from all of the different clients and people, especially the people that you've had the opportunity to work with. So, is there anything specific that you've learned from this experience that you want to share?
Well, there's a lot, and you mentioned it's the clients, it's the candidates, it's the whole process. It's going to these shows, responding to RFPs, and all of that. But I would say, the one thing that really stands out is the fact of working with all these founders and entrepreneurs and how they run their companies and how they run these searches. So we work very closely with them. So we'll visit them when we get a search and get a real feel for the vision, what the future looks like, the focus, but also get a feel for the culture. But for instance, at Tasty Bike, Ashok Vasudevan every Monday morning at corporate, he would go over all the metrics that went on last week for the whole company. Pete Lesko was also very metrics driven. Just all the people, Sarah Jones, I met in a Bob Burke training class 10 years ago. And then she was just starting a company. We did our first search for her last year. And it took a while to get to 6 or 8 million, but it's now over the last few years grew to 30 and now 50 million and more. So just working with all of those. And then part of it, as we started getting more well known in the space, a lot of PE firms started reaching out to us. So early on, it was Sherbrooke Capital, but North Castle Partner, we've done a number of searches for. Emil is now ECP Growth. We've worked quite a bit with NGen, and I mentioned KKR and some others. And then the other thing that has happened is we've had a lot of international searches. I mentioned the China connection with, and that was Wagon Train. And, others were, from New Zealand and Natural Pet Food Group with K9, the UK, Italy, and other countries. And of course, also Canada, we've worked with Riverside Naturals. And so just overall working mostly in North America, but also with a global scope influence and working with clients like that, you just can't help to learn a lot.
For sure. And I love that you touched on the culture and the future of the brand. So it's not just about like what you're doing for them now, but how does it affect the entire ecosystem of the brands, right? So you're not just taking things at face value, but it's really a long-term benefit for all of these brands.
Yes, and by the way, when you mention long term, we look at all of these as long term relationships. So we have a client in Connecticut that we've actually done 25 searches for, and they're more in the personal care and actually home business and office space. And some of the people we put in 20 years ago are still there. So yes, the and when we sit down, understanding in some cases they're PE backed and they're looking for a 3 to 5 year exit. Many cases, it's family based company where they want to, it's either first, second, or even third generation where they want to keep the business going. So you really have to listen, understand what the important things are. Sometimes they like experiences with PE backed companies. Sometimes the family, doesn't like that. But the bottom line, almost everybody that we put in, it's great if they've had classic training. But if they haven't had one or two or more entrepreneurial experiences, most of the clients that I've mentioned just here, or, when we did searches were 0 to 10 million or 30 or 50, they can't take somebody out of a big company, a consumer company that has 100,000 plus employees and be employee number 6 or 7.
Fair. No, it definitely makes sense. Well, is there anything else, Brian, that you want to touch on when it comes to executive search and working in the natural product space?
Well, sure. Anybody interested, just look at our website. You can contact me at brian@fairfieldpartners.com, and we'd love to start with just having a conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, Brian.
All right. Thank you, Carrington. Appreciate it.
Of course.